Welcome back to Microsoft Flight Simulator, and welcome back to the A2A Piper Comanche. I'm going to take a look at a circuit in this aircraft today in my kind of journey back towards, ultimately back to the F-16. If there was one aircraft I would recommend, one General Aviation aircraft I'd recommend in msfs, it would be the Piper Comanche. Study level aircraft that is quite complex without being overly complex, and significantly more powerful than the Cessna 172. Okay, so rotating at 85 miles per hour, I have to say miles per hour rather than knots. Gear up when out of usable runway and pitching for about 105. I always struggle to get airspeed under tight control in this aircraft. It's maybe a little bit more power than you're expecting. 500 feet AGL, 25 square power settings, so 25 on power and propeller pitch, and 1,000 feet, leveling out, pulling way back on the power down to about 12, I think, and then turning onto the crosswind leg, and looking to maintain about 105, although I always struggle at around 110 miles per hour rather than 105. 105 is best rate of climb. Looking to put the heading bug at the 3 o'clock position. It's not easy to see. Nice if it was a bit more bold. Always a little bit above 1,000 feet, so I'm usually about 1,100. Looking for the runway, then turning and trying to put the heading bug at the 6 o'clock position. Again, airspeed quicker than I'd like. Spending more time on the aircraft. If I was just doing circuits over and over and over, I would practice. I would look at the power settings. You see I'm backing off on the power again. I would just be trying different power settings and seeing how I could get the exact correct airspeed. Okay, we're looking now to be parallel. See, I'm just pulling back a little bit too much. It wants me to have the gear down if I'm going to use those sorts of power settings. So yeah, I'm about 105 now. Looking to be parallel with the threshold on here on the downwind leg. At which point gear down, first stage of flaps. I'm looking for the position to turn onto the base leg. In the Cessna 172 I left it way too late. I've completely forgotten the sight picture for turning onto base leg, and I was putting it way too far behind me. This landing, as with the Cessna 172, it's not going to be a perfect landing. I'm a little bit high. The reason for that is I've got some high ground. You can see here off to my left, I've got some high ground, and I'm really wary of that. I think the turn to base leg, it's an experience thing. You just look for that sight picture, and it's just something that you build up over a period of time. So descending at 500 feet per minute, I'm looking for about 90 miles per hour. So putting the heading bug at the 9 o'clock position. And because I'm a little bit paranoid about this high ground, I'm a little bit higher than I should be You see the vertical speed is creeping up a little bit because I'm a little bit paranoid about this high ground. So in the end, this is a landing I probably, if I was doing this in real world, I would go around. But as you'll see, I just press ahead with it regardless. Obviously some beautiful scenery. There's a bridge on as I turn to final that doesn't render quite correctly, but and maybe there's actually a replacement for that out there in the community. As you can see, the bridge off to the front left doesn't really draw properly, so I'm turning onto final. Turning on a base, I extended second stage of flaps. I think if you look at the pappies, it's 2 whites and 2 reds, but I just end up going a little bit high. See 3 whites, and what I'll do is I'll compensate by going to about 700 FPM descent. As I say, in real world I would go around with it being a little bit too high. Trying to get it on centre line. About 90 miles per hour, which I believe is correct. Trying to get it on centre line. It's always a bit of a struggle. Flaring is kind of challenging because you're backing off on the power. You don't want to back off too much. You want that kind of 100 FPM descent rate. So you don't want to back off the power too much, but you've got to be careful that you don't float. So that's the downside of having that extra power, that you really have to, it may take a while before you really get the hang of flaring the aircraft to land, because it will have a tendency to float. Not really bothering to clean up the aircraft as I taxi to parking. Just keeping it simple at the moment. So the next video will probably be a departure using Beyond ATC. As I gradually work my way back to flying the F-16. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. We enjoyed that look at Brighton. It's a really nice little airport. I think it's the Orbex Brighton, I'm not sure. It's a long time since I installed it. Makes for an interesting airport to do circuits at because of that high ground, because it really just concentrate the mind that you can't afford to be too low turning on a base, because you've got to run into the ground, but you also don't want to be too high either. So yeah, recommend the airport, recommend the aircraft. It is, as far as I'm aware, it's got to be the best general aviation aircraft out there for msfs, in my humble opinion. As I said before, it has that extra complexity. It's a little bit old school, but it also has that little bit more power to it. So I hope you enjoyed that, and hope to see you again for the next one.